the ultra running world and your experience of that. So what is if you can, in a kind of brief way over a couple of minutes max, really, is what is your experience of the ultra running world?
Oh, okay, cool. So I basically started ultra running largely because of Charlie, who is the guest on the previous podcast and my
Yeah.
partner. So at the start of 2020, I said to Charlie, I'd done a couple of marathons before, and I said, I either want to do a half Ironman this year or an ultra marathon. And he'd had quite a lot of experience already. And then obviously a couple of months later, COVID hit, big lockdown, whispers of races coming back. But obviously nothing really happened for that entire year after that point and beyond. So my first ultra was actually just a really long run with Charlie, completely unorganized. So we like plotted the route and everything. So it wasn't until the following May that I did my first ultra. And since then, I think I've done about 5 or 6 other ultras on top of that. And it's a completely different experience to any of the running that I'd done before. So the marathon running, half marathons, a lot of road running. Most of my ultras have been pretty rural. And living in the mountains here, we absolutely love the mountain ultras. And I think in terms of, the kind of the ultra running world, the ultra running community, probably a lot of people look at ultra runners and think we're just absolutely mad. And I'm sure most ultra runners have probably had that conversation with someone that they know. But I think it's one of those things that when you experience it, you kind of don't go back. It's so addictive. And it's lovely to almost have this secret with other people that anyone can access. I really do believe that anyone could do an ultra if they had kind of the right conditions to support them. But not everyone knows how special it is until you do it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And, you know, touching on that, the 2020 bit in particular, and that lockdown, where you live, it's kind of set up. And the previous episode to this one with Charlie, as you say, he was a guest, and we talked about it a lot. Being in that lockdown in 2020 and wanting to get into ultra running, someone like me lives in Cambridgeshire, which is really flat. We can kind of go to Royston Heath in the next county and get a little bit of elevation. But right on your doorstep, you've got that there. So in that COVID time, I guess it was pretty well set up for you to kind of get practicing this ultra running sort of environment and the mountains around you. And I just wonder what your take on it was in terms of where you live and how you feel that could have helped you get into this or has given you any sort of advantage or what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's, I think again, it almost wasn't something that we went about particularly consciously, but we almost had the perfect kind of training platform. So Charlie and I started off just doing lots of cycling when the roads were completely clear. There were like more bikes than cars on the roads here to start off, and we just had this like a crazy, amazing hot weather that you just never get in Wales really. For such a long period, like day after day after day for weeks. So we were doing loads of cycling then, just thinking, like obviously the magnitude of the situation just hit you and you think, this is terrible, but also this is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity to go out and do this cycling and just experience the world. And I was working from home, Charlie was on furlough, so we suddenly had way more time, no commute, lots of flexibility to do loads of training. And I think the other part of it was that it became like a weekly ritual really to go out and just do these really, really long runs at the weekend because there wasn't anything else to do really. We just get the DIY, but obviously no one was seeing anyone. And to be able to kind of plot these adventures from our front door that take us up into mountains. We got really creative with, well, Charlie did. Charlie's in charge of all the plotting and I just kind of follow along. but yeah, got really really creative where we were going and what different routes we could do and different areas that we could go to that maybe we wouldn't have explored if we had the option of going anywhere and driving to different places. But I think that showed us some really, really beautiful things. So basically, to sum all of that up, during that period, I got this great cardiovascular base, I think, from doing all the cycling and kind of pushing the distance on that all the time. And having a very quiet life in many ways during lockdown, to be able to just run loads and that be a real event of the week is, oh, where we're going to go for a long run and what we're going to eat afterwards.
Yeah, and you know, we're a form of media, and COVID got a bad rap, rightly so. It was terrible what happened to people, but within that, there are these stories where it helped people and it changed people's life in a positive way. And gave us a chance to maybe try things that we wouldn't, as you say, normally have the time for. So, you know, it's really good to hear that. And it's a great story, actually. And what I'm going to do is I've asked you that question, and I'm just going to give the listeners a bit of insight from my side, because guests are really modest when they come on here, and the ultra running world is like that. And that's something I really like about the ultra running community. But the truth is, Rhi, you're really good at it as well, because guests I'm normally asked, do you know your guests before, or have you ever met your guests in person? And sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is I meet them afterwards at the next event that we commonly are at or whatever. And the truth is I kind of stumbled across you and Charlie, and you just come out of registration for Ultra Trail Snowdonia. And little did I know that, and I don't know if you knew, but if you had a chance, but I was standing there talking to you guys, and I think you podiumed, didn't you?
I did, yeah. It was very, very unexpected, but I came second in the end.
In the 100K, right?
In the 100K, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it was a great story. And